I love to cook at home, and having good kitchenware makes all the difference in the world. Not only does good equipment make prep and cooking easier, but it makes it more enjoyable. This is why both Joel and I are huge fans of Made in Cookware. Their wide range of cookware, from pots and pans to knives and flatware and even glassware, are designed to be professional quality for right in your home. Joel is a big fan of their knife sets, and I just upgraded all of our stock pots and saucepans to Made in stainless steel ones. This goes along with my many other stainless steel, carbon steel pans that I have. I have over a dozen pieces, and I absolutely swear by Made In's products. Next, I'm getting a set of beer glasses. Yes, beer glasses for the whole podcast crew. Take your home cooking to the next level by upgrading your cookware by going to unitedwedrink.com/madein. That's MADEIN. Find out why pros like Grant Achatz, Sean Brock, Nancy Silverton, and Eric Repair trust Made In. Go to unitedwedrink.com/madein. That's MADEIN, and upgrade your kitchen and cooking today. The opinions and statements in this podcast do not represent those of the host's employers, coworkers, family, or imaginary friends. Now enjoy the show.
Happy hour, more like amateur hour. Welcome to United We Drink.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the beer podcast that has as much preparation in it than H. Welcome to United We Drink right here on unitedwedrink.com, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and wherever fine podcasts are found. My name is Mike Urevich, and these intros are getting painful to even attempt to wing, let alone write. And I am joined here by my two co-hosts, as I normally have. First up, the man who has now set the Guinness Book World Record for most watches of the Batman. It is Joel Codner. What are we up to? Like 7,000,000,003 now?
I've lost track. I really have. It's just about every night. And I make it through maybe the first half hour to 45 minutes, and then I fall asleep. It's like my lullaby. And two quick things. I don't remember who it was, and maybe you guys will, but there used to be a comedian who had a joke about Preparation H and said something about, like, what went wrong with preparations A through G? Or what is it? Yeah. Sorry, I don't know the alphabet right now. And I don't know why the intros are getting harder when you've got more time on your hands now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't write it. I don't care. I guess Bill Engvall is the one who had a joke about that. But
you Googled it?
Yeah.
I would kind of rather not know that now, because
okay,
I would have rather
we'll go back in time.
Yeah, I would have rather
the
just
guy who has watched the Batman a bunch of times, Joel.
Anyway.
And a person who has watched the Batman once, Kevin Abbott.
I feel like not only are those becoming harder to write, I feel like we're also more and more going for just sympathy listens. Is that, man, this is painful for these guys to do. Let's just listen to them, make them feel good. They haven't prepared anything. They're just riffing. I'm sorry. You know, those kind of fans are really like our sweet spot, our pocket.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Anya. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, India.
Yes, those bot farms are really helping our listens out there in India. So it is a Wednesday. In the middle
Holy
of
shit, it's only Wednesday.
Joel,
HSIOW.
Joel's pretty pissed off about it because he thought he was going to miss out on family taco night by recording tonight, but they moved it to a different night of the week.
Yeah, it got bumped up, so it's kind of unavoidable. But actually, I didn't go because double brew day yesterday. I was pretty tired and just needed a fucking shower and a few minutes off.
Thank Kevin for that. He's the one who made that happen.
You are welcome, Joel.
Gentlemen, what are we having on this hot, humid, very sticky, very disgusting night in South Florida? Kevin?
I am drinking Cherry Saturation by Odd Breed Wild Ales. It is part of the Saturation series, which is where my partner Matt Manthe has created beers that use so much fruit that they're at the legal limit to the amount of fruit that can be used to make the beer and still be called beer. Now, I realize that most smoothie sours exceed that limit, but then again, those really aren't beer.
And they don't give a shit anyway.
But all these sugars are fermented out, so let's just put it that way.
And that's the only thing you're drinking?
I've also got a little bit of Identity Tequila that I think I drank on one of the shows recently, but one of the things that sticks out is that they actually give a portion of their proceeds to LGBTQ plus charities, and I thought it was appropriate for Pride Month.
Oh, I don't remember you mentioning that.
I probably just said it in my head.
Oh.
A lot of times I have conversations with you guys that you are not privy to.
And you know, there are times that I am in your head, and I'm living there rent-free, by the way. But
and
you need to speak louder because my hearing is terrible, whether in your head or in person.
We record this show 3 nights a week, right?
Correct.
Because I'm doing it at least 3 nights a week. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing.
I just mash them all together. Joel, what polar do you have tonight?
It's actually black cherry this week. We are all out of the cherry lime or whatever it is, so got a little black cherry action going on. Still off the sauce.
What is the I don't get don't buy too many of those flavored brands. What is the variety like at your Publix? Like how many different flavors does Polar have there?
It's kind of like when it's not on sale, they stick to, you know, what you would think are like the core brands. For some reason, they take up fucking shelf space with 12 packs of flavorless. Like it's just carbonated water. Like
Club soda.
Yeah, like why the fuck? Like that's already, like 8 other companies already covered that like 10 feet away. Yeah, of course. Of course Kevin has the fucking flavorless. Anyway,
it's great. It's actually one of the best. It's got one of the strongest carbonation levels, and sometimes you just don't. Sometimes you want to be a purist, Joel, and you don't want to just put a bunch of fruit and extracts and adjuncts in your carbonated water.
Yeah, you should make a float with that, with some fucking plain store brand vanilla ice cream too.
That sounds great.
Sounds like carbonated milk, which is half the IPAs out there today. Anyway,
I am very Caucasian, by the way, if you haven't noticed.
Yes. Well,
White Russian.
The blonde, blue-eyed guy here. Of course, he's got the Polar Seltzer, the flavorless. But so if I can answer Mike's question,
can I finish?
Can I finish? So it seems like throughout the week when it's just in the water aisle and it's not buy one get one free, it's just, you know, a few basic varieties. I think it's like lime, grapefruit, maybe one of the cherry something varieties. And then, you know, they go crazy when it's buy one get one free because they've got the whole fucking display. Like I don't know what they're doing along the border these days because the news doesn't cover it anymore, but all that build that wall shit a few years ago, like they would have gotten it done if they were just grocery stockers who do the displays of fucking like Super Bowl Budweiser and Polar Seltzer and all that shit. Because like you walk into Publix the day after you were there and all of a sudden it's the fucking Great Wall of 12 packs.
They're pretty impressive too.
Yeah.
I've seen those like with the bud and the Coke like mixed in between them in order to make like an image in that whole wall. Like it's fucking impressive to me. I could never do that shit.
And I think they're only going to get better now that we're raising a generation of little pricks addicted to Minecraft.
Perfect. We got a whole generation of stalkers, stalkers, not stalkers, in the
It's
making.
like Whitney Houston said, the children are our future.
I'm drinking a flavorless water, sparkling water as well with my Liquid Death, but I also have a can of I'm Zonin from Sunlab. It's a hazy IPA with dry hop with Simcoe, Summit, Sriracha Ace, and orange zest. It's like pina colada, orange, peach. It's delicious. This is my second 4-pack that I've had of it. I'm really enjoying Sunlab stuff. They're a gypsy brewery out of Miami doing a lot of their stuff at Westbrook, and they're run by a dude formerly of Captain Lawrence and another dude formerly of Carton Brewing. And actually, Joel and I have met the dude from Captain Lawrence because we were next to him twice in a row at, Extreme Beer Fest.
Well, we both met him, but you actually engaged in conversation with him. Cause
yes.
When it comes to that shit, I shut down real easy.
Yes.
You're the outspoken, hey, let's be friends and collaborate guy. And I'm like, hi.
And then when I say that, my boss then shoots me down and goes, no, I don't know them. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, fun. I also have a little, I don't have any whiskey in the house, so for my third, I'm having some of the Kirkland tequila because I kind of like that. I think we brought that up on a previous episode.
Yeah, did you guys see I sent you the thing that said who actually makes it?
Yes. Yeah, I did see that. This is just it's tasty. It's vanilla. It doesn't have that really harsh tequila-y taste. I don't even really know how to explain it. But
so are you saying that it's good because it is a tequila that doesn't taste like a tequila?
Yes.
Like when people will come into one of our breweries and say, I like this beer. It doesn't taste like beer.
Yes.
The ultimate compliment, Mike.
The best of them.
By the way, before we proceed, I think I should point out that I'm looking forward to Mike's cancellation when this episode drops because he used the slur gypsy. I believe you're supposed to say nomad. I can't believe woke Kevin over here didn't point it out.
I didn't know that was a thing, or that I was woke. I'm learning all kinds of new things here. I'm learning about how to use stock people to build walls. I'm learning about my vanilla taste as a bland white guy. I'm learning about how to use language better. And I'm learning that Mike likes tequila that doesn't taste like tequila. This is an informative show. No one can say it's not. At least for me.
This is why I didn't want a topic.
So I posted this on Twitter, but no one gives a fuck. My wife bought some wines, and one of them is apparently a gypsy winery. Aren't they all? But it says,
What?
like most wineries don't actually have the grapes. Like they don't make Joel and I know we used to work for a
Just say
winery.
West Palm.
Yeah. Oh, we're allowed to say that now? Not your former brew pub. But it says on it 100% bullshit free. And then right next to that says contains sulfites, which I know that a lot of like natural wine purists would consider bullshit in their wine. So I just thought that was a funny label that I came across from said gypsy winery.
Where did you post that? Because I feel like I saw it and misread your caption.
Twitter.
Oh.
You're
I
welcome.
think this is a good concept too. Why don't we just read our social media posts on our podcast?
Let's catch everyone up on
Yeah,
what we've been posting.
And it would be
Kevin
really
has
easy.
posted nothing.
It would be really easy for me, right? So I would speak less, and everyone would be missing out, unfortunately. But them's are the breaks.
I've heard from some people that they have requested that you speak less. I'm not gonna out those people because anonymity. It's important. We're not gonna release the names of our whistleblowers here, but
also one of them is Joel, so that would be really awkward for everybody.
I heard things.
Mike, I'm looking at this label, and obviously this is a terrible thing to discuss when people are listening to this podcast and can't see what the fuck we're talking about. But if you are that interested, go look at Mike's Twitter feed from June 15th. Anyway, I guess this is the rear label that has all the fucking fine print on it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it is so busy. There is so much going on in so many different fonts.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice the 100% bullshit free. So when you said...
With a bull pooping next to it.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah.
I gotta zoom. Oh, Lord. Yeah, so there's so much shit going on in this label, I didn't even notice that part. And
but not
that's
bullshit.
why your caption didn't make any sense to me.
You're welcome. I'm glad that we have this podcast to where I can explain my Twitter jokes to you, because as long as I laugh at them, that's all that matters. It's like Norm Macdonald. If it's funny to him, he's just gonna go with it, no matter what anyone else says.
Well,
I think it's great that you're comparing yourself to Norm Macdonald as a comedy genius. There's Norm Macdonald, Gilbert Gottfried, Mike Urevich, and then Carlin, Steve Martin.
Thank you.
No, that's what I'm saying. Then you have Carlin and everyone else underneath it. So I'm glad that we're finally talking about this, because I've always thought that you were one of the voices of our generation.
I am the voice of this generation. Joel calls. I am technically a millennial, but Joel says that I'm a Gen Xer who got stuck in traffic.
Joel was not paying attention.
No, I heard that. I just don't know what the hell that means.
You said that about me before.
I said that?
You did.
I don't know. That doesn't sound right.
That doesn't.
I was going to say, if you're going to use the podcast to explain your tweets, I guess I'll have to use it to apologize for mine.
Or just put your tweets out on this podcast. Instead of tweeting, just have this be your tweets.
Maybe what I'll do is I'll print out every episode. I'll print out all my tweets since the previous episode, and that'll just be my script.
There you go. And then we'll sell them as an NFT. Are those still things?
Yeah, it'll read like one of those weird AI things, those AI generators, where you like feed it a bunch of information and then it creates like a short story or something like that. It'll just be my voice, but it'll be like, IPAs are fucking stupid in 2022, and go fuck yourself, some local politician.
You know this Dolly Mini AI thing that everyone's posting about right now?
Is this the one where the Google engineer thought it was sentient and got silenced?
I'm not sure about that. It's like you type in anything.
Never mind. It's probably
and
nothing.
it generates 9 images based off of what.
Oh yeah, I saw that today, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is that?
I've seen some good ones, but I haven't experienced any good ones myself, because I typed in like one of the Hype Breweries cans in a trash can and didn't get anything good. I typed in Joel Codner eating mushrooms, and I did not get anything good off of that as well. And I just decided I'm done with this thing because I wasn't entertained.
Well, now I gotta find that.
So yeah, we're what? 18 minutes into this, and I don't think we've talked about beer a whole lot.
Fine by me.
So this is going to be one of those episodes where we just kind of riff it. We don't really talk a whole lot about stuff that is important in the world of beer, beverages, and all of that. So yeah, we're just gonna go about this. I did see one thing. What was it, a couple of days ago? Yeah, Jack and Coke RTD. Seems like that should have been one of the first ones that came out, right? Jack Daniel's, Coca-Cola actually teaming up and making one of these ready-to-drink cocktails.
It seemed like the response online was like, what took so long? And then I thought, like, yeah, that does seem like, we haven't had that all along.
There's been... Kevin?
There's been... I know I've seen canned Jack Daniel's cocktails before, but I don't know if those were like Lynchburg lemonades or something of that nature. But I imagine a lot of it has to be just rights and who's making the money off of what. Right? I mean, you have two large companies, all that want to make all the money, all the profits, and want to benefit.
Is probably like the big part of that.
What's that?
The distro is probably the big part of that.
There's another thing there. So I'm sure there's a lot of complications when you have companies of that size that have to work together to put something like this on the shelves. The thing that I saw, I read nothing about this. I literally saw a picture as I was scrolling through my Apple News feed. Is it a 12-ounce, like, full soda can?
Like that's what the picture does look like. I'm pulling up the 12-ounce can.
I guess also just the fact that it was in like a normal looking soda can, where every one of these craft cocktails are always in the skinny cans and in the same cans that you see all your sparkling waters. And I just saw Simply Lemonade.
Yes, they have the spiked,
Simply Lemonade, which I mean, Simply Lemonade is one of my favorite things in the world, and I was like, I have to try that at some point. But it was so odd to see that, and I don't know if that has to do with can shortages. I'm sure that if they're actually packaging this at like the Coke plants, if that's possible, then they would be using the things that they actually have. But it will stand out differently on the shelf because of it.
Apparently, they're also going to be doing a zero sugar version of this as well.
Yeah, so. It's funny because I had a partner at the brewery that was looking in and trying to do a sparkling seltzer, hard seltzer. I'm going to get there eventually. And he wanted to do the seltzer in a normal 12-ounce can. And was told by absolutely everyone, the marketing company, everyone, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, that it's not what the customer is used to seeing. And this did not come to fruition, but I wonder if being different on, and I know this is not hard seltzer, but it is a ready-to-drink beverage. I wonder what that differentiation on the shelf will do. Just that and that visual aspect with a lot of name identity. I have to imagine that this is going to do pretty well.
Yeah, I would think it would be too. Oh shit! I fucked up my view. Never mind. I'm good. I too recall seeing like Jack Daniel's type of drinks, I feel like, before, but yeah, it was probably like Jack and Cola because they were working with like some generic cola type of recipe and not Coke itself.
Probably like RC Cola or Faygo
or Jolt. Let's face it, everyone loves Jolt.
Tab.
Is this like possibly one of the first, I don't know, like I'm talking out of my ass here. Is this, and know what, this is the first time that Jack Daniels and Coke have officially collaborated on this drink together. It's always been a tongue-in-cheek, people have done it themselves. It's never been an official thing. There we go. I said it. Boom.
Good job, Mike.
But is that true?
I mean, I'm sure that there's been collaborations for advertisements over the years because they're symbiotic brands and they can help to promote each other, and they don't have necessarily competing brands in the market, I would imagine. I don't know what Coca-Cola's empire looks like, if they have any alcoholic beverages.
They're symbiotic brands, so they're like the black Spider-Man suit?
Yes, symbiotes, exactly. You got me. You got exactly what I was saying, which is really important.
Hey, we got into Marvel here.
You got the subtext. So I'm sure there has been some kind of working relationship in the past, or at least just on the surface, with promoting their brands. But this opens a door, as you said, I think in this, Mike. The fact that this hasn't been done before, and I know all the hurdles we talked about. But now Captain and Coke, Stoli and Orange Juice, they're going to work with Minute Maid. This gives the opportunity to have...
for real?
No, I'm saying this. This is why are they? This should be the next thing that they do, because these are the brands that when you are a kid and you're drinking illegally for the first time, you're drinking Jack and Coke, you're drinking Captain and Coke, you're drinking vodka and orange juice. These are the simple cocktails that every person drank when they were young and drinking for the first time. Might as well capitalize on that and make some money.
I'm personally looking forward to Bartles and James and Fanta.
If they brought back Bartles and James, I'd be all over it. You can mix in Fanta if you want, Joel. I'll try it with you.
We're going to have 7 and 7.
Jolly Ranchers and Zima.
Oh. We'll have Mentos and Coke spiked. It'll blow up in your face when you open it.
7 and 7. That's one I haven't heard in a while. But yeah, I was a 7 and 7 fan back in the day.
They need to make it official with the whole, you know how you like pop a hole in the watermelon and fill it with a bottle of something and then have the spigot on it? Like, I'm telling you, that's going to be on shelves. I suck at predicting anything, but if this is the way things are going, you know we're going to see that shit.
That reminded me of my senior year of high school. We went on a field trip, and a bunch of people got in trouble for eating vodka-soaked oranges that they, like, I don't know how they did it, but they brought on a bunch of fucking orange slices, and it was just like they were in the back of the bus eating them and just getting fucking hammered. And now Joel talking about watermelon soaked in booze made me think of that.
Are you all the Gen Zers listening to our podcast are like, yeah, okay, Grandpa, we soak vodka with tampons and shove them up our ass now.
I was confused by the fact that, were you saying you didn't know how they got these vodka-soaked oranges on the bus, or how they soaked oranges in vodka? Because that's not tough. I can explain it to you. I can draw you a chart.
But both of those I can understand. I mean, okay. How did they get them on the bus? They walked on the bus.
Right. That's kind of what I was getting at, Mike. I've been informed early on.
I made myself look stupid for you. Thank you, Kevin. You're welcome.
Joel and Kevin explain simple principles to Mike Urevich this week on the Misspots. Oh my God, I just did Misspots on the United We Drink podcast.
Baby steps with booze-soaked oranges onto the bus. Baby steps with booze-soaked oranges onto the bus. The fact that I did that twice is amazing. What other classic type of cocktails like this are something that you would like to see in an RTD?
First of all, why are we calling it an art? Aren't all beverages ready to drink? I mean, this is where we overlay the Seinfeld theme.
And an old fashioned is not ready to drink. You can't just walk into the bar and be like, I want an old fashioned, and here you go, ready to drink. It has to be made for you. That's what I'm assuming they mean by it.
Because we're combining multiple things
on the spot. Yes.
Right. Well, I mean, you could say the same for half the beers that are out these days with, it's like it's not enough to have cookies and milk and a stout. Now you've got a stout with lactose and actual cookies in it. Why is that not an RTD?
You tell them, Joel.
Reach out to us. Let us know.
What's the deal with it?
And don't call it an ATM machine. It's an automatic teller machine. If you say ATM machine, you said automatic teller machine. For the love of God, people. Sorry, go ahead.
It's like TCBY yogurt.
Let's just do this. Listen, you usually have to pay really good money to listen to three guys jerk off like this. Go ahead.
So you can subscribe to our OnlyFans.
Yeah, so I don't look at the RTD section at all. I went pretty heavy on all the different flavored hard seltzers, hard lemonades, all that kind of shit. I was a big fan of the hard Mountain Dew before I stopped drinking. So I never really paid, I would see like the high noons, and I don't even know, like, I don't know the difference between like a lot of these things I see on the shelf and some of these brands like High Noon, where I'm like, is that vodka and soda? Is that
what's
I
weird
really don't
is
know what it is.
It seems like some of them that are like High Noon specifically market themselves as a seltzer and as a RTD, and it's kind of confusing even to me, because they say it contains real vodka and contains real fruit, and like, all right, so you're vodka and Spindrift, so what's going on? But then it's like, I have to double check, because I know that we carry High Noon at our brewery. If it says seltzer on it, but it is kind of weird with that.
Well, all I'm saying is that you asked the question, what cocktails do we want to see? I'm unfamiliar with what's available, but like I said earlier, everyone was kind of surprised that Jack and Coke hadn't been official yet. So I kind of feel like, haven't they covered everything? Like, I really don't know. I mean, I'm a pretty basic, I was a basic cocktail drinker. I didn't go too crazy with anything. I think, the most ingredients additional to liquor I would have added are like if I'm getting an old fashioned and it's, cherry, orange, whatever.
I think what I was trying to put out there was some of these multi-name brand type of things, because Jack and Coke, those are two different companies with two brand names: Coca-Cola, Jack Daniels. 7 and 7 is Seagram's, and 7 Up. Like, are there other things like that would require the combination of two different or three different, however many different entities that are a known cocktail or mixer type thing that should be out there? That I think that was mainly what I was going after.
Well, there are the ones that we mentioned, Captain and Coke, and really when you talk about two call brands, 7 and 7, Captain and Coke, Jack and Coke, are the ones that are up there. You got, vodka and cranberry, vodka and orange juice, but it's rarely Stoli and Ocean Spray, right? They could get together and put that together, but it's not something that people actually use those words to call for brands at a bar. There's a lot of really good pre-canned cocktails of margaritas and palomas. I've had a couple decent mojitos because I've tried a good amount of these that have been at the store. I think a lot of the reasons why these haven't been on the shelves forever or well done are all legal reasons as far as the ABV of the drink that they can actually put on the shelf. In a lot of areas, you can only do wine-based spirits or things of that nature in a can, and could not sell those with actual hard liquor. So I think it's really catching up. I've been told directly by the people that are by my distributor that's working with the biggest grocery chain in Florida that the High Noons and the our ready-to-drink cocktails are cutting into their sets huge right now. And they are really wiping out a lot of the seltzer that made all the gains over the last several years. Not really cutting into the craft beer section as much, but a lot of the seltzers that were in have been completely kicked out by some pretty big hitters, especially big local hitters that had set placements that now have lost them. So it's the new thing. It is now the thing that I'm hearing other breweries going, hey, can we do something like that? And to which I say, please don't. I don't see the market for that. I think that you're going to have, when you've got Coca-Cola involved in it and you've already got market leaders like High Noon, they're going to be the ones that'll be left standing at the end, just like in the seltzer market.
Well, Kevin, you bring up a great point, and it was something I'd never really noticed or considered, but, you know, seltzer was so ubiquitous for so long, and, you know, before craft breweries got into it, you know, there were many brands popping up, and like there would just be fucking pallets on the Publix floor of White Claw and shit like that, and everybody was gobbling it up. And I remember all the articles about seltzer expanding and building bigger facilities and going to be producing however, you know, many hundreds of thousands or millions of barrels a year, whatever it is. I remember going to my wife's company party in Chicago, and like at a certain point I looked around this very crowded room and every single fucking person had a seltzer in their hand. So it seems like once the craft cocktails started, you know, showing up more and being more prevalent, it almost feels like people, like I see so much more of that now, and I see it sold in so many places like breweries, and I'm almost wondering if there's like a psychological thing to it where people are like, oh, seltzers are so yesterday and so low rent, I'm going to go with this canned cocktail. Even though it's just a fucking alcoholic drink in a fucking aluminum can, there is a perception of, you know, prestige or lowliness or whatever you want to call the perceived differences in these things.
But we've seen this how many times over and over again. We had the wine coolers in the 80s. We had a lot of the flavored malt beverages coming
Bartles
in the
James.
90s. What's that?
Bartles
yeah,
and
exactly.
James.
Bartles and James.
That's what professional comedian Mikey Revich would refer to as a callback.
We had a lot of the flavored malt beverages come through, and the ice malt beverages come through in the 90s. We had the Mike's Hard Lemonade. We had Smirnoff Ice. We had these beverages that were Zima. We had these little fads that went for so long, and then people went back either to their tried and true beverage, or they went on to the next thing that was well publicized and advertised and what have you. And I remember having a conversation, I can't remember how long it was ago, where I was either said it was or asked the question, is seltzer dead or is it dying? And it was something to do with Truly sales or something. And Mr. Palmisano either texted or chimed in on one of our Slack chats saying, no, it's not dead, bro. And was that my good? Was that a good Phil Palmisano?
Perfect. Nailed it.
And listen, I don't know.
Not enough ums.
I don't know where the state of that industry is, and he would know a hell of a lot more than I would. From what I'm hearing, the craft section of seltzer has taken a huge, huge hit. And it's really the industry leaders that are continuing to be able to thrive in this. I'd love for Phil to chime in and let us know how the Cigar City brands and the Oscar Blues brands are doing. And maybe he's going to tell me that they've tripled sales from last year, and that, Phil, once again, I'm totally wrong and misinformed.
Hey. Phil, what do you got to say? Phil? Nope, he's got nothing to say because he's not on the show anymore.
I was more saying he will be listening to this show, I assume, and he could. And I'm talking directly to him. Chime in on our Slack channel. We will follow up with it. Listen,
No,
You
we
are
won't.
pretending like
No,
we're going to
we
have
won't.
a topic for our next episode. We will basically be doing this again, and I can either say that I'm completely wrong or that there's some validity to what I'm hearing from my distributors.
So like I've seen a lot more of these ready to drink cocktails myself, especially in my own household. My wife has been buying them, especially like tequila based ones. We've tried these Ranch Rider, and then she bought like a variety pack, and it was like margarita, Paloma, and margarita with jalapeno. And I gotta say, 2/3 of them were pretty tasty. Jalapeno one just tasted like pickle juice in a fucking can, and it was fucking gross. And I love pickles. She bought another. She bought one from like, it was at Costco, but it was like the 12-ounce slim cans of a Paloma RTD, and it's pretty tasty as well. Like these things aren't bad. I saw some I guess they're RTDs of old fashions from Knob Creek recently that are like bought like small bottles. And all right, Joel,
Joel, what do you have?
you want to share with the class what you're losing your shit over?
He's giggling like a school child.
Just got a case of the giggles, that's all.
But
you'll have to tell us what that was about when the show's over.
Okay.
He cut his camera too because he got fucking called out. I think that the RTD thing could be something that sticks. The seltzers thing has always been kind of iffy to me. And Kevin, you bring up the topic especially of like smaller brands losing spaces. I've noticed that in my local grocers, like the big one, like Publix, that is local to me, and a smaller grocery chain that is independent who used to have a few different local seltzer varieties that are no longer they don't have but maybe one or two seltzer anymore. So but the RTD thing, like cocktails have been a thing that I feel like has stuck around for a while, and making it more easily accessible, I think that has more sticking point to me.
But the big thing about seltzers that I've always said is that where is the room for variation? Other than a flavor. So your black cherry tastes better than my black cherry. Right? You're starting from a base. It's not like beer where you start from a base of a blonde ale or a Hefeweizen or a porter or a stout. Your base is a flavorless carbonated alcohol. Now you have to add in one, maybe two fruit flavors, maybe a spicy flavor or what have you. There's really not room, in my opinion, and I've never seen a room for craft in the seltzer game. When you look at the cocktail side of things, there's huge room for variation because there's a billion cocktails. You go to any decent cocktail bar, there's usually 10, 15 cocktails I see on the menu that I want to try right now. Right? I have to make my choice of a spicy margarita or an old fashioned or a Manhattan or what have you. And I just think that the variation is there for people to go and try many different things. But at the end of the day, you'll probably see a couple big ones latch on, and there'll be some kind of new trend 2 years from now. I mean, this is just this is the way the business kind of works.
Oh, I just thought of one that I want to see. Someone give me a canned Pim's cup.
That's one of your favorites, yeah.
Yeah.
What's in that?
Pim's number one, and then
What is Pimm's? I don't even know.
Pim's is a gin-based spirit that has a bunch of fruit and herbs and aromatics, and like it's all proprietary stuff, but it's gin in base. So that's your booze, and then the most traditional way of making a Pim's cup is with carbonated lemonade, but some people do American lemonade, which is flat with club soda or ginger ale.
You can't see this on the podcast listening, but Mike actually grew a handlebar mustache while he was describing that cocktail. I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
And these suspenders
now I'm
appeared.
twirling it, and I'm a villain.
These suspenders appeared above his shirt like he was suiting up like Moon Knight.
And a leather apron. This is odd. This is strange. You have a calling, my friend.
I'm an odd breed. But also, I'd like to see a Tom Collins can as well. Another one of my favorite cocktails, especially this time of year.
I have never had one. I only know of Tom Collins from Meet the Parents.
It's a fucking delicious drink. I feel
it
like
looks
it gets
delicious.
Made fun of in that movie a bit.
No, they didn't make fun of it.
It's so delicious. It's so refreshing when made right, and it's such an easy drink to make too.
Great classic cocktails. I mean, you can't drink a lot of them, and I think someone might have mentioned it earlier, but a White Russian. I mean, terrible for you. Heavy cream and freaking Kahlua, but Jesus Christ, are those things delicious?
Yeah. We got a little off track here. I don't even think I gave Kevin the opportunity. What do you cocktail ready to drinks would you like to see?
I think I mentioned a good amount of them. My favorite cocktail is an old fashioned. If I'm going to a bar that knows how to make a cocktail, I usually get at least one old fashioned from them. So it's a little more of a complicated drink as far as your proportions and things of that nature. And one of the hardest things with that is getting the sugar balance right, so it's not just a sugar bomb, which so many of them are. And that's also the big worry with the canned cocktails. That's one of the things I hate, and most of the mojitos I've tried have been just the sweetest, awful, sickly drinks. Whereas a good mojito, in my opinion, has a good amount of acidity from the lime and really fresh mint. So I feel like Joel's about to burst into laughter again. So I'm really watching what I'm saying. I'm actually staring at you as I'm describing this, and I'm having a hard time concentrating.
I was just contemplating the notion of the plain seltzer and vanilla ice cream guy on the podcast now complaining about sweet mojitos.
Well, let's put it. I mean, listen. I will say that you were the one that said that I drink that. I didn't, and I said that, and I agreed because I am indeed the kind of boring white guy that would drink such a thing. But overly sweet drinks are one of my biggest pet peeves. Overly sweet beer. I think every time that I describe a beer that I like, one of the things I say is that it's well attenuated and drinkable for the style. And most American breweries, everything is overly sweet. Their Imperial Stout's overly sweet. Their Hefeweizen, their Wit, their Brown Ale. Everything is just sweet, 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 sweet. Because it's a cheat code. Americans like sweet. The first sip tastes really, really good. It's cloying and undrinkable for the next 20 sips. But all people remember is, it was really, really good. Because it gave me a sugar rush.
We're all just kids, right?
And correct me if I'm wrong, but when we went to see Doug Stanhope at the Improv, isn't that where you said you had the worst old-fashioned of your life?
Oh, that was one of the worst. That was not only one of the worst old-fashions of my life, that was one of the worst drinks I've ever had, period.
Which is funny because you and I have had old-fashions in Boston where they put fucking seltzer water in the fucking drink.
The amount of variance I've seen in that, but it was as if they took bourbon, poured, when they take the maraschino cherries and they pull them out of the jar with their hand and they put them in the tray and they don't have ice underneath it so they get warm and fruit flies are all that kind of stuff. It's like they took the juice from those maraschino cherries and just did like a 50-50 split with the whiskey and then just, threw in some ice and probably a splash of soda water and an orange peel and called it a day. It was just freaking disgusting.
I'm glad I didn't go to that show. Thank my kids for being born.
Well, you
I didn't go
realize
to
that-
Well,
show.
would you have ordered that there?
Possibly.
Really?
I'm very easily influenced by other people, especially in a drinking
Yes, you are.
setting. And if Kevin was like, I'm going to get one of these, I would have, like, if he would have ordered before me, I would have been like, oh, I'll have that too.
I have since learned my lesson, and I just order whatever cheap macro beer they have on draft. Oh, actually, the last time I went to the Improv to see our good friend Ryan Panucci perform, they had High Lie on draft there. So I was happy to drink a nice Cigar City beer.
Cocktails at comedy clubs are like the pizza at Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, it's like, yeah, they gotta have it, but it's fucking terrible every time.
Yeah, true. But listen, sometimes you get the right bartender who knows how to make... I mean, listen, I used to bartend at an Olive Garden, and I could make a better old-fashioned than that, so...
Olive Garden has a bar?
Of course Olive Garden has a bar. It's a family fun emporium. What else are you going to have to make people get through mushy pasta and over salty breadsticks?
That needs to be the title of this episode. Of course Olive Garden has a bar.
Writing that down right now. So I'm actually surprised that we have talked about RTDs for so long.
And mixed in a bunch of other nonsense.
Yes, of course, because that's what this podcast is all about. Mixed in nonsense. We're mixed in nonsense drinks.
The other option, I'm sorry, for this episode would be to call back to your wine tweet and just call this no bullshit, with the fact is that this entire podcast was bullshit. That would be a nice little in-joke.
I do like that.
If we're throwing out ideas.
I do like that.
Okay. That it makes more sense than, of course, Olive Garden has a bar, but
that
we'll
will be the title of my autobiography, Joel. So I will use that.
It's the subtitle. Like, you know how every book has like the title and then some bullshit afterwards. That,
I'm not familiar with books.
That they only say that on the fucking circuit when they're talking about their books. That's it. This episode is called No Bullshit. And then in parentheses underneath it, of course, Olive Garden has a bar. Yeah.
I mean, you are the one that makes these calls, so we can't say anything about it.
So I don't even know why I'm asking you, motherfucker.
You're not really asking, you're telling, Mike. And actually, it's a little aggressive. So you win. Just back off.
Is it? Good.
Back off.
I'm glad that it's finally coming across as aggressive, because I feel like it hasn't in the past, and that you guys just walk all over me. So I'm glad that I'm sticking up for myself a little bit here.
We're all proud of you, Mike.
Thank you. So how Joel, I'm gonna put you on the spot. How is the MCU looking right now?
Oh fuck! We're gonna add another hour to this podcast because Kevin's gonna disagree, and
I haven't watched any of Miss Marvel yet.
I was a little bit before we went on here, I was going through my phone because I had like 70 fucking tabs open in Chrome, and I wanted to start clearing them out, and one of them was an article about like why the MCU is so disjointed, and like went on to list every movie of Phase 4 and why, and all this TV series as well, and why like it's so disconnected and where things are at and all that. So it's funny you brought that up. I've got my Thor tickets, so like I said on a previous episode, I think that I felt like I needed the next movie after Doctor Strange, not so much to be the usual continuation we're all accustomed to, but I just felt like I needed Thor to fucking cleanse my palate of whatever Doctor Strange 2 was. So
I think you're gonna get that with Taika Waititi. Like,
yeah, for sure. I have total faith in him. But it's also like the shortest Marvel movie in years at an hour 59. It's not even 2 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's weird. But I have a feeling that it'll be full of. I think it's going to be quality over quantity.
Well, if they don't try to pack 2 movies into one movie like they have been doing with every single Marvel movie over the last several years, it can work.
Right.
I just saw, like, it came up in my Instagram feed today, like a little trailer-esque thing for the new Thor movie, and I laughed my fucking ass off at it. With like, I'm going to assemble the greatest team ever with Korg, my best friend, and Valkyrie, and Jane, my ex-girlfriend, and Korg just goes, Jodie Foster. like Jane Foster, Jodie Foster. Like, Taika Waititi's great with those little comedic things, and that's why I loved Ragnarok so much. Is it took me away from the main stuff that was going on in the story of Marvel and gave us some laughs, but continued. It held true. It was canon, but made you laugh and made you happy at the same time. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking forward to. I'm not going to go out to the theaters because I'm just not a theaters person, but I'm looking forward to this one a lot because of the history with Ragnarok and just Taika Waititi's like stuff outside of that.
I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. You know, I'm disappointed that things are as disjointed as they are, but I'm just fucking impatient.
Are they disjointed because it's a multiverse thing and they want you to be mind fucked by it?
I don't think so, because not every property references the multiverse. In fact, some outright don't fucking address it at all, which gets frustrating. Because, like, you're kind of supplanting the Infinity Stones with the multiverse. Like, the multiverse is in this phase what the stones and all that shit were in the other stuff. So it just, I don't know. I think it'll be fine. I'm a little nervous. You know what I mean? And there's a part of me that, like, you know, as much as I love Eternals and Shang-Chi and all that, I no pun intended, marveled at the notion of, like, you know, 11 fucking years of movies all in this giant universe and everything's tied together and there's always a little, you know, tease for the next thing, and everything just felt so perfectly woven together and paced and all of that. So to have everything as chaotic as it is for me now, it just worries me, that's all. But I mean, it would take so many colossal fuck-ups by Marvel to, you know, get me to go to DC or stop watching altogether, like I did with Walking Dead and so many other shows. Like, I don't know. I think it'll be fine.
I'm just saying, maybe that's the intention.
To get Joel to stop watching?
No, the chaos. The chaos.
Maybe.
I don't. I just think they want to do way too many properties. They want to introduce way too many new characters, and they don't have the patience to build them like they did in Phase 1.
Oh, by the way, welcome to After Hours here on United We Drink.
I also...
sorry,
ahead,
I just
Joel.
wanted to say that I fucking forgot. Never mind, go ahead.
I was just going to say...
That was fucking quick.
I just wanted to say that, Joel, you describing yourself as cautiously optimistic would be the same as a normal person jumping up in joy and rapture and doing backflips and waving pom-poms. That is basically the highest praise that you could possibly bequeath on a movie. So You must be feeling pretty good.
I mean, it's not as good as phases 1 through 3, where I'm like, holy shit, can't wait for the next thing. Kind of like in the same way I used to feel about like knowing another Carlin special was coming on HBO, you know? I had that sort of like, I can't fucking wait for this. So going into Thor now, I'm just kind of like, all the pieces are there, and I mean, it's kind of like No Way Home. Like, no, not No Way Home. Sorry, Doctor Strange 2. Like, you would think like it's gonna have all these amazing things, and then like you're sitting in the theater halfway through it, going, "Holy shit! I think I don't like this." Like, and being really surprised. Like, am I not enjoying this right now? Like, where is this going? And I don't think any of their movies ever made me feel like that, and I don't want to feel like that again.
I haven't seen that yet, so I don't know your feeling, but I recall
1 week from today on Disney Plus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So by the time that this comes out.
This has also turned into a little bit of a therapy session for Joel. So I don't want you to feel that way. Show me on the doll.
Can I
Show
charge
me
you
on the
guys
action
for
figure.
this?
What?
Can I charge you guys for this?
Yeah.
Cool.
You can charge us. We're not going to give you any money, but you can try.
I think sue you? I don't know if that's how it works.
I think the MCU might be like the one thing I care about that I don't talk to my therapist about.
They'll probably drop you as a patient if you do.
I should message her right now. Like, so are you watching Ms. Marvel? What do you think?
And if she has an opposite view of yours, of course, you have to move on to a different therapist.
Of course.
Because they can't help you if they don't understand you.
All right. So
Best thing for a podcast, dead air.
Yes. Luckily, I can edit that out. So I think it's probably about time to move on to last calls, because as if this last hour or so hasn't been a big, long last call. Time in which we give each other unspecific amount of time to talk about whatever we want, unopposed, unobjected, and to just kind of say whatever. So with that, I'm going to go to Kevin first.
So, this last weekend, as of this recording, I visited Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure with my family, and I realized something after my first ride on the Velocicoaster, as I got in the front seat for the first time, is that I am about this close to having roller coasters be the main fundamental principle of my personality, where all I want to do is talk about roller coasters, ride roller coasters. I may leave my family, get a van, and travel the country, going to theme parks, working odd jobs, of course, to pay for the exorbitant ticket prices and make sure I get a fast pass, because I will not visit a theme park without a frickin' fast pass. That is suicide. But I love roller coasters with a passion undying. The joy in my heart of flying through the air in terror. I'm, by the way, terrified of heights, but there's something lovely about being strapped in so that you can't move and then just being flung around like a maniac. But I'm very close. If next week or the week after or 6 months from now, I just disappear from this show, you will know one of two things happened. Joel and Mike kicked me off because of incompetence, or I have started my nomadic life. I did not say gypsy life, Joel. My nomadic life to walk the land, walk the earth, and just be a roller coaster guy. And I don't think that would be a terrible thing. I feel bad for my family, but I think they'd get over it. I'm not really that great of a husband and father anyway.
Not allowed to retort, but
you can say whatever you want.
You're a good husband and a father.
I said that for comedic effect. I
know.
a wonderful father.
I'm going to jump in here next, and I've been seeing a lot of people on beer Twitter recently getting really faux prophetic about the industry. Many will come up with some unprompted, out of left field statement that they consider a hot take, merely to stir the pot that beer Twitter simply can't help itself but engage with. Then, after a few days, rinse and repeat. These people seem to be thinking of themselves as voices for our industry. I talk about the things that no one else does, except we do. It was probably just last week when you were too busy considering yourself a connoisseur of sandwiches or chili or basset hounds mixed with chihuahuas. You seem to get a lot of joy out of being mean or counter to a large group. Many even seem to be channeling the spirit of the late, great Anthony Bourdain, who we lost now 4 years ago. Jesus. The thing is that Bourdain wasn't a shit poster. Yeah, what he said could be rough sometimes, but he did care deep down and oftentimes wanted to hear the other side of things to understand where those people came from, even if he disagreed with them. Starting fake internet fights is the complete opposite of that. Bourdain became a voice for food and for the restaurant industry through experience and an open mind. Getting on your high horse and trashing while thinking of yourself as some savior for this industry doesn't help this industry or yourself. There's plenty of better voices out there in this industry, and we are very lucky to have them. They stand out. You know them. And for those that want to be so badly a voice, just stop. You're not helping anything, especially yourself. Joel?
So everyone, at least who has an internet connection, is probably pretty well familiar with the character of Florida man, Florida woman. You know, it's no secret that for the most part, with some pretty rare exceptions, present company included, most people in Florida are just shitty asshole pieces of shit. And it's very rare that you'll find any sort of courtesy, whether it's someone holding a door open for you or staying off their goddamn phone in a theater, cutting you off in traffic, giving you the middle finger. It's just kind of how it is, and at least how I perceive it. And fucking Kevin. Anyway, so one place I was surprised to find courtesy was at the bowling alley. I went bowling recently, and I had noticed very quickly that people are still doing the thing where, they pause to let the other person next to them bowling go, whether it's, the person that's kind of paired up with your lane or the other lane off to the side. People kept doing that, and I was really surprised by that, and I think it needs to stop. I think people need to stop doing that. It impedes the game. It just generally drives me insane. If you need me to wait to let you go, if my shot distracts you enough, then you're not a good bowler, and you're never going to be. Okay, so I'm not going to wait for you, okay? I'm not going to wait for your kid who's got the fucking bumpers up and the rail because they can't even throw it under their legs. Like, I'm not waiting for your toddler. I'm not waiting for you. I'm not going to wait for you to fucking film yourself on TikTok throwing the ball and trying to pick up the 7-10 split when you fucking roll it right down the middle. I'm not waiting for any of that, okay? I'm just going. That's it.
We should just end the podcast there. Don't even bother with anything else.
Is that part of your tight five?
My what?
Your tight five?
Tight
stand
five?
Up,
oh,
stand up routine?
No. But I have been rehearsing that in my head for 2 weeks, but not even for this. I just think of it and I start ranting in my own mind.
I thought it was well done.
You win 100% of the arguments in your mind. Undefeated.
Especially in the shower.
Joel, do you want to plug anything?
Barrel of Monks. We have a triple can release coming up. We've got Blood Orange Vanilla Wit. We have Cosmic Lighthouse Double IPA and Island Journey Pilsner. Kevin, you got the details on that release?
It'll be on July the 2nd. We're doing a barbecue, basically a rib platter with a bunch of sides, and you can get that as well as those cans at that release. We also have our Grand Cru, which is a really, really beautiful Belgian strong blonde ale that I think turned out so well in a 750 that's available right now.
Bottle condition.
I actually do have something to plug in addition to going on top of what Joel just said. If you like to hear Joel and myself discuss specific beers, you should go to Barrel of Monk's YouTube page. We do a series called Old Favorite Friday, and we do what we call overtime videos. The Old Favorite Friday videos are on our story feed on Instagram and Facebook, and they're just a minute, and so I've just kind of giving a little overview of some of the great beers that we love that are old favorites, that are beers like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, Weihenstephaner Hefeweizen, just great beers that are widely available that people don't appreciate like they used to. We now have all of the overtime videos, which are extended conversations, 3 to 10 minutes sometimes, and I talk with Ralph, our assistant brewer, Joel, head brewer, and sometimes bring in some guests to talk about these beers. And just kind of go in depth of these beers that we love. And this really runs in line with everything that we talk about with United We Drink and the kind of beers that we really, really appreciate. So if you like that, please check those out on YouTube. I'm hoping that I will get Mike in as a guest to talk about one of his old favorite beers here soon. Now that you've got a little more free time, maybe I can make the trek up to West Palm and we can video one of these weeks.
I was just going to say, like, wait till Kevin's done and then invite myself on to the show. But apparently I've been invited on. So
I've been wanting to have you on for a while, but you've got to pick out a beer and tell me what you want to do, and then we'll make it happen.
Do I just go on the old fallback of Sam Smith Oatmeal Stout?
Oh,
but
perfect. We can do that.
All right. You can follow me at Mike Loves Beer on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow the show at United We Drink on Twitter, at United We Drink Pod on Instagram. We're on Facebook as well. You can find the show on all of the major podcast apps, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, all of those places. If we're not on a podcast app of your choice, let me know, and I'll try my best to find a way to get us onto there. If that means greasing some palms with grease, not money, I will do that. Might not work, because that's kind of lame to put grease in someone's palms. But other than that, please do check out some of the brands that we love on our website at unitedwedrink.com, such as Maiden, Liquid Death, Death Wish Coffee. We got a lot of fun stuff up on there, stuff that we think that you guys would like. And if you do, please use the links in there, because when you purchase something through those links, go and help support this show and help us not have to pay for stuff. Other than that, we'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about probably bullshit again, because that's probably what this podcast is all about anymore. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Cheers.